r/AskReddit. What makes you immediately lose romantic interest in someone? When you come to them with a problem and they turn it into a conversation about them. I've been trying to get better at this. It was the only way I knew how to relate. But I realize I don't always need to relate. A solution isn't always needed. I don't have to be able to relate to something. I just need to be supportive of their feelings and listen. I have a friend that is really good at this. Whenever I'm talking with her about a problem or something that's bothering me, she is always super supportive. She doesn't say things like maybe try or I would. She's super mindful and I want to be able to do the same for her. When you realize they only listen to reply, not to understand. If they constantly make you feel bad for them. Felt so bad and was so worried about him for so long that the one time I needed the emotion I couldn't have it. Talking at you, not with you. When they don't know the difference between being funny and being obnoxious. If they say the words I know I'm an a-hole beach, like okay I'll take your word for it. Also if it becomes apparent that they have no self-awareness. Doing dumb things and should know better. We had a new guy join our Friday social group. Very nice guy, attractive, at the bar. He took his old gum out of his mouth and stuck it to the bottom of the table. Really? So trashy. They enjoy putting other people and their hobbies down. If all of their exes were toxic or crazy, we all have one or two bad ones. But seriously, it's not always that. They're obsessed with their ex. Yes, and people tend to have a painful lack of self-awareness about this. They immediately accuse others of being insecure when they're constantly bringing up their ex for no reason. Like if we're at Red Lobster, I don't need to know what your ex used to order. I don't need to know their favorite movie or really anything about them that doesn't relate to you in some way. It becomes really obvious when someone still has strong feelings for their ex, and it's sad when they're the only person who can't seem to see it. Don't know how to act in public, are unaware of feelings other than their own. If they ask how many cavities I have had throughout my life and then check my mouth like they're buying a horse. If they don't have a romantic interest in me. Selfishness. I am very considerate of others and I am slowly learning that I think I need someone that is too. Bad breath. Smelly in general too. When they start to pull you away from the rest of your friends in order to get their attention, those who refuse to acknowledge when I feel uncomfortable and guilt trip me into doing things I don't want to do. When they have seemingly no opinion, no voice. When every answer is I don't care or I don't know. Like Jesus Christ, I'm trying to find out what you like so that we can talk. Gimme something. It is annoying. But I used to be like this. My stepmom always told me that my opinion didn't matter until I was 18, which meant that she never listened to what I wanted and I was never allowed to ask for what I actually felt like doing, eating, watching when she was around. Long enough with that and you just learn not to speak up. I did eventually learn that most people care what you think, but it took some time and gentle nudging from the rest of my family. When they have double standards. Anyone reading down this comment section looking to improve themselves? Chewing tobacco. I'm also not a fan of smoking, but it's not necessarily an instant deal breaker like chewing tobacco is. The truth is, I have seen too many men who would sit there and chew tobacco and then spit it into an empty Dr. Pepper bottle, and it grosses me out more than I can express. Watched her share a lollipop with her dog. Not she ate it and let the dog finish it. She had it in her mouth for a while, then gave it to him for a minute. Back and forth like that until it was gone. Gross. If they shit in the shower, you think it doesn't go on. I'm here to tell you it does. Was with a girl and driving her home. She sparks up in my car. She just continued to smoke like it was just an okay thing to do. Then put her feet up on my dash. Went out with a guy once who talked 90% of the time. 85% of that being about how much money he had made. How much he spent on his now ex-wife. All the nice cars he had. I picked him up because he didn't have a ride to meet up. He was legitimately confused why I didn't want to spend the night with him when I went to drop his ass off. Never saw him ever again. Edit. My first silver. Thank you, kind stranger. Being rude to customer service people. If they are judgmental or tend to jump to conclusions before they know the whole story. Or, worse, if they combine these two. I guess because I've been burned by this in the past. It really makes me feel like the person isn't being fair if they are biased toward believing bad things about people. I'm not going to fight to overcome that, partly because I shouldn't have to, and partly because it won't really work. It's a relationship dynamic that I know I don't want. If they give an ultimatum in regards to choosing between a longtime friend and them as a partner, edit 1. Thank you very much, kind stranger, for the silver, greatly appreciated. Edit 2. I've read through most of the replies and something I wanted to clear up was, I honestly don't think there's ever a situation where you should accept an ultimatum like this. Cutting someone out of your life, regardless of whether they have a positive or negative impact on you, is a huge decision that should not be forced upon anyone by a third party. In saying that, it's definitely the role of a partner slash friend etc. to highlight to you if someone is indeed a toxic piece of shit that shouldn't be kept around. But again, the decision should never forced upon you. Just my 2 cents. Ghosting you, then suddenly popping up out of the blue when they want attention. Yes, Brittany, I know what is happening when you call me. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel and I resent the duck out of being the bottom. Wait, that could mean another thing, but you know the thing I mean. When they look at me with that heartbreaking expression that says, you're weird and I don't understand you. Bad oral hygiene. I brush, floss, and mouthwash twice a day and I still wake up with poop breath. My mouth dries out so much and the only way to not have my mouth dry out is to eat something or drink something other than water. I've become more forgiving when a coworker has butt breath and don't assume they didn't brush their teeth now because of my strife. Aggression, abuse and unhealthy addictions. I've shared this before, but one time I was out on a date with this girl I met online. I thought she was very attractive and we seemed to hit off well through texts. We're at this bar and she suggests we play a people watching game where we try to make up backstories for the other people there. I thought it sounded fun, especially since I played a similar game with friends on the train sometimes. Plus it felt like a good icebreaker to get us talking. Well, she managed to take all the fun out the game by being ridiculously cruel in all her assumptions for no real reason at all. It felt like she was projecting issues she had onto these people. Like one guy was sitting at the bar alone. Could have been waiting for someone. You never know. But because he was alone, he was a ducking loser with no friends that hates his life. Completely killed the mood and I lost interest in her after that. Couldn't see myself going on a second date with someone like that. Generally being unhinged. You can tell if tiny things upset someone to where it ruins their whole day. They won't be able to handle the big things. If they say I love you on the first date, creepy AF. When you discover that they're actually a potted plant. Telling me who I can or can't be friends with, screams insecurity, and raises the question of why I shouldn't be friends with them. If they were my friends from before, why are you trying to get me to cut ties? If they are your friends from before, what have you told them that you don't want them to tell me about? Constantly comparing me to your ex. I'm not them. If you want me to be them, break up with me and get back together with them. Trying to change me because it's sexier. No, I will not start smoking because you think it's hot. Sorry. Making pedophile jokes and then wanting to hang out with my little sister. This one should be obvious. Not being able to take no for an answer, even with little things. If they don't listen when you say you don't want to eat X because you don't like it or allergic, aren't in the mood for it, what makes you think your opinion is going to matter later with bigger things? Bad dental hygiene. And little to no effort when having sex. If you have sex like a dead fish, I'm not interested, lol. Self-deprecating constantly. I get the humor, but not on a serious level. Man shrugging. When I find out they have a kid, I know it's shitty to say, but it's the truth. I'm nowhere ready to have a kid in my life. No matter how much I like the person, I wouldn't be able to commit. Biggest turn off for me is when they make fun of people with disabilities. I have a couple friends on the spectrum, with Parkinson's, with Huntington's disease, Down syndrome, muscular dystrophy, and the like, and when someone makes fun of them or tries to avoid them like the plague, it is my biggest turn off. No one should ever treat another human being like they are beneath them because of how they are born. Same if they can't handle me standing up for people in those positions. I will get up and tell someone to apologize to my friends if they are being rude or making fun of them, and if they can't handle that, then I'm not with the right person. Arrogance. If they are rude to service workers. Also if they don't like animals, I'll give a pass if they're allergic. Being a lazybones and not putting their cart in the cart corral. Not being able to talk about anything. Why did you even message me in the first place if you don't plan on even actually talking? Funny enough, when I kindly tell someone it's not going to work out because of this, that's when they have a lot to say, lol. When you take a 1.5 hours train ride into NYC to meet up when she gets out of class only to be ghosted. Don't really feel like I should have an emotional investment in a girl like that. Not having any goals or aspirations. I was talking to this one girl, and we wound up cuddling a few times, but she refused to get a job and lived off her parents. She could work, but chose not to and had no plans for later in life. Bye. Creepy red flags like stalking. Most recently had a guy joke about me being his sugar mama and cooking and cleaning for me if I let him crash on my couch for free. Dried me up real quick. If they have no interest in giving me an orgasm. What are you doing? Reading. What are you reading? An article about giving you orgasms. Oh really? Yes, it is a big interest of mine. Well, you want to put it into practice? I'm mostly into it from a theoretical standpoint. When they said they were an anti-vaxxer, true story, this girl was really nice, so beautiful, like a supermodel, came from a really good, rich, successful family, but then she said she didn't believe in the way they give vaccines because it gives kids autism. I totally thought she was very smart, but after this not so sure. We had known each other for a few years, so this was a big shock. This was the first time I ever experienced the attraction literally disappear as we talked. It was so crazy and sad. Bye girl. If they display impatience or a short temper. Playing hard to get too much or for too long. I have a tendency to judge people by how they treat kids, pets, and the frontline workers in retail and restaurant establishments. If somebody treats them like shit, then that's an instant turn off for me. Them shitting on the floor. Was excited to take cute girl I met while bartending on a date. Picked her up at her place, and before we got to restaurant she had somewhat bluntly informed me that she hated Willie Nelson and dogs. It was over before it started. When they turn into the moon. Lack of effort on their part. When they repeatedly interrupt me with completely non-essential non-sequiturs. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.